Hello, my friends. Welcome to my astrology channel. I'm Michaela, and in this video, we will discuss in depth the approaching full moon in Gemini. It happens on the 8th of December, and the moon will be positioned at 16 degrees Gemini. Right across there will be the sun at 16 degrees Sagittarius. So, as any other full moon, we have this opposition, which of course can be rather emotional. And in this case is on the axis of knowledge, of communication, of learning, of traveling, and discovering the world and the knowledge it can offer, and as well as sharing our opinion. What is very special and interesting about this full moon is that the moon is positioned exactly on Mars, which is at the moment retrograde at the same degree, 16 degree of Gemini. So this makes this full moon even more so hectic, chaotic, full of ideas, full of communication, full of news. Unfortunately, not all of those will be useful and productive. So, as any other full moon, this one implies a moment of culmination, of endings, or at the very least of reassessment of the situation, depending on how we find it. Because with the moon, like a huge limelight, like a projector that shows us where we are standing, what's going on with us and around us, what have we achieved so far in our efforts. For some of us, there might be this moment of harvesting, right? Reaping what we sow, enjoying the fruits of our actions and efforts. But also, as well, of course, there might be the possibility of disappointment, frustration, the realization that we have to change the approach or change the course or quit this project altogether. Very likely that it might be connected with something we have started 2 weeks ago when we had the previous new moon, and new moons are the moment of planting the seeds, but also even more so, it can be relevant culmination of a process or something that you have visualized, wished for, or started in your life around the 30th of May this year, when we had a new moon at 9 degrees Gemini. So it's the same part of your natal chart, which is active now and was back then. As well, I might return you back to the 10th of June 2021, right, last year, when we had a new moon, which was at the same time a solar eclipse at 19 degrees Gemini, even closer degree to the 16 degree where we have now this energy of fruition, realization, and culmination, right? So you can think back in time. Another point of view that we can use to analyze this special full moon is that the sun is also opposing Mars. Now I'll share the screen with you so you can see what I'm talking about. Here it is, the chart of this full moon built for the 8th of December. So here are the key players: the sun, the male energy, the ego, desires, and the moon, the female energy, the subconscious needs, emotions, making an opposition. The earth is in between, here in the middle, but also the earth currently is in between the sun and Mars. So we have like a moment of full moon for Mars himself too. It's the middle of his 2 years and couple of months cycle. And this cycle, just like the new moon, the moon cycle begins with the new moon when moon conjunct sun. So the same cycle for Mars started when Mars conjunct sun. And it happened on the 7th of October 2021. And it was at 15 degrees Libra. So think back in time. Did you start something Marsian in your life, something related to action, to motivation, ambitions, passion, courage, achievements, sport, maybe competitions, maybe it was related to the house in your natal chart falling in Libra, or where does the 15th degree of Libra fall in your natal chart, right? You see that for my general forecast, I'm using the whole sign system, but in my personal consultations, I prefer to use the Placidus system. So, for instance, in this case, this is a rising sign Scorpio, and for the whole sign system, 15 degrees of Libra is 12th house, because the whole Scorpio is first house, the whole Libra is 12th house. But in this case, it's 11th house, you see, according to the Placidus system. Anyways, this is for the more advanced in astrology. What you should focus now is the huge energy of Mars participating in this lunation. So it makes it more agitated, hopefully not more violent, but definitely there is more desire to do something, to act. But don't forget that the lunation happens in a mutable air sign of Gemini. And of course, air, Gemini, is being air sign. It's about communication. It's about mental activity. It's about social gatherings, meeting people, like speaking to people, exchanging ideas, looking for facts, for knowledge. And since it's mutable, it's very curious, but it's very hard to pin down. It likes different things. It gets bored easily. So with Mars here, we actually might feel more frustrated because Mars is straightforward. Mars likes to act. Well, if it's a Scorpio Mars, it's more about careful planning, strategizing, like in the chess game. You plan 3 steps ahead of your opponent. If it's the Aries Mars, it's more masculine energy of achieving, of going for it, forward, yeah, charging, seeing the goal, not seeing the obstacles. But in Gemini, it's just very scattered. It's just very hasty. It's impulsive. It's rushing. It's overwhelmed with news, with facts, with knowledge, information, people giving you advices and chit chats and social events, need to travel and so on. So we have to be careful with this full moon. Maybe you already feel it because I recorded a couple of days before this full moon, and usually we feel these energies very strongly. 3 days before, 3 days after, then they stay with us, of course, for the next 2 weeks before the next lunar phase, important one, which is the next new moon. And in this case, there is this opposition between Sagittarius and Gemini, Sagittarius, who sees the big picture, who follows general ideas, who is acting oftentimes based on inspiration, on pure faith, on theory, and Gemini, who is much more about details, facts, knowledge, and this smaller things, this daily routine, the pieces of the puzzle, the trees in the forest, right? And here is Mars, a bit lost in this forest because Mars moves retrograde. This is an important transit. Mars will spend in Gemini altogether 7 months. This is a long time. Usually it's about 2 months transit. So that is why I recorded 2 videos about Mars in Gemini, Mars retrograde. You can check them on my channel. One video is more like general tendencies. Another one is forecast for each zodiac sign. And now all these energies are highlighted by this moon, by this emotional phase of the moon. So definitely we can act. On one hand, we want to think, right? Because Gemini is the energy of ideas, but it might be more wishful thinking and being more lost in considerations and facts, which prevents us to take focused, proper actions. And of course, we might feel frustrated. I would advise us all to be more careful with words, because in this case, words are weapons. Be more careful while traveling on the road, because Gemini represents this infrastructure of the cities, the roads, the vehicles. On a global scale, for instance, there is an interesting manifestation of Mars, which is war, which is anger, frustration, Mars retrograde, not very clear with its goals, and the Gemini, the infrastructure. So we see these brutal attacks on Kiev, on Ukraine, by Russia recently. And now it's like the peak moment of all this hasty brutality, unreasonable one. Now I will go for what can help us in this quite overwhelming, I would say, lunation. I checked the Sabian symbolism of the 16th degree of Gemini. Sabian symbols are metaphorical descriptions, like images of each symbol, which help us philosophize and dwell on the energy of this symbol. So in this case, the image was a person leaning on some book, and first it's a young person, and then it turns into a adult, mature person. So basically, the Sabian symbol talks about mature wisdom, about unemotional understanding of what's going on, about mental discipline, rationality, reason, and objectivity, which is in contra, of course, in opposition, let's say so, with this impulsive, hasty, reactive Mars, which lacks concentration. So, and of course, it can provoke this anger, which either can be spilled online, in media, in social platforms. This is all Gemini. It can be that we are so rushing that we provoke some incidents, accidents, especially with sharp tools, with hot tools, with our hands, shoulders. You should be careful with vehicles, traffic. We might be more irritable, like angry, with full of irritation with our closest ones, neighbors, people in the neighborhood, siblings, relatives, cousins. Be careful with your gadgets, they might break now. Or the frustration can be even, unfortunately, also inner, like feeling overwhelmed, feeling hopeless, that like wanting to act but not knowing where to imply our energy. Because Mars needs to be active in any case, whether direct or retrograde. When he's retrograde, it's better to finish something unfinished, like go back to same competitions, finish your book, finish your blog, call some old friends, go together to hiking, walking, riding a bike, right? Spend time in the nature, breathe. Very importantly is to make some breathing exercises to stay in your body, right? Stay in the present moment, not be so much in your mind, mental activities, which bring can bring like some negative thoughts, and depression sometimes even, right? When Mars wants to act, but he doesn't know where to start from, where to begin from, he doesn't manage to finish things, he cannot concentrate on one single goal. So yeah, that can bring some anger, frustration, and anxiety. Yeah, this was the word I was looking for, anxiety indeed. So breathing, Tai Chi, and thinking twice before reacting on someone's verbal provocation, possibly. Now, yeah, the good thing is that degree itself is more about maturity and reason. And also we see that this opposition makes a trine to Saturn. Like normally people don't like much Saturnian qualities and energies because they might be restrictive and harsh, cold and narrowing down. But in this case, we have this, you see the blue line with the triangle, that's a trine, which means that the moon and Saturn, as well as the sun and Saturn in their sextile, basically they speak well, they communicate for the common good. And Saturn here helps. He stabilizes, he grounds, he helps us organize and be more self-disciplined. And you see it's for the common good as well, because Saturn is in the sign of the society of Aquarius, of also exchanging ideas, goods, communication, common shared markets, and so on. So Saturn wants equality. Saturn wants respect to each neighbor, to each person, right? So, but also have self-respect and this inner backbone and inner core. And another thing, the ruler of this lunation is Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. So let's check how is Mercury feeling and doing. And we see that Mercury is fresh in Capricorn, first degree of Capricorn. It's the sign ruled by Saturn. So Mercury is also very cool-headed, very practical and pragmatic in its position right now. So yes, we might feel emotionally the need to chat, to do something, to be constantly in the social media, hit our phone from tweeting and chatting and so on. But at the same time, reasonably, logically, we will be like, hey, hold the horses, right? Maybe I need to focus more on work. If I say this, how will this influence my reputation? I want to be respected in the society. I want to achieve some career prospects, right? I want to be a leader, a manager, an example for other people, right? So Mercury in Capricorn is discerning. So he doesn't allow all sorts of informational noise to penetrate and to trigger us, hopefully. So he's capable of logical reasoning, and because Capricorn and Saturn are also very ambitious signs, focused on the traditional, on the rational, on achievements. So Mercury here in Capricorn is very much about work, business, and just improving slowly but surely, and being patient. Patience is exactly the key word, I think, for this lunation. Oh my God, very, very interesting one. And now, my friends, let's go to the forecast for each zodiac sign. I work with Western tropical astrology. For my forecast, I use the whole sign system, though in my private consultations, I work with Placidus, which I find even more specific and personal. You can listen the information about your rising sign. This is very important because I base my forecast on this analysis. Also, you can check the information about your sun sign. That shows a lot as well. Rising information or forecast according to the rising sign point to very much the outer circumstances, what happens around you, to you, with you. Sun is more like how you react on those, what you can do with this. And even you can check the forecast for your moon sign, because this will show you more your internal feelings, your emotions, your subconscious reaction on all of this. Or if you were born during the night, so with a night chart, so then the moon becomes your main luminary. All right, so dear Aries, for you this full moon happens in your third house. So we have this peak moment or moment of realization, or maybe you end something or you restart something in order to finish it finally, in the fields of your education, in the fields of your online work or some small business. Maybe you were gathering documents because you're preparing to move. Maybe you were preparing for some travel trip. But you should be careful around this full moon, exactly with vehicles. Maybe you're repairing now a vehicle. On the road, be mindful with the speed. Don't hurry, better slowly, but safe and sound. And be careful with manual work, with your hands, with your shoulders, not to get hurt by some incident or accident. And also stay cool-headed if possible, because Mars is your ruler and it's retrograde, so maybe you are not seeing things very clearly. but stay careful with, avoid conflicts with your siblings, with your neighbors, within your neighborhood, in your local environment. Saturn helps you ground, and Saturn is in your 11th house. So you can rely on some good old friends, on someone from this organization that you're visiting or participating in, a governmental or non-governmental organization. Also, you might be grounded by your own inner goals, dreams for the future. So you want to rush with signing some contracts, agreements, papers. You will first think, does it contribute to my desire of achievements for the long run? And Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is in Capricorn in your 10th house. So all of this, I think, will boost your professional life, your career, some negotiations or contracts related to your professional activity, your mission in life, or even to your status somehow. Dear Taurus, for you, this full moon happens in your 2nd house. So we're talking about some culmination, peak moment regarding your work. How do you make money? And how much do you earn? So maybe you will be more courageous to ask for pay raise, but be careful not to fight for it, right? Don't become over emotional and over aggressive. Yes, you have to build your own boundaries and protect them. You have to take good care of your body. 2nd house is the how we feed our bodies. Also the exercise. So here maybe you are renewing some old sport activities or diet. Also maybe you're buying something, but in this case, try not to be very impulsive. Remember that now Mars is retrograde, then he will turn direct, then he will go again the same degrees for the 3rd time. So most probably the final decision and resolution will come in the spring next year. You can check my videos dedicated to each separate sign as a forecast for 2023. They're long videos, more than an hour long, for free on my channel, so find your sign. And maybe you will be reassessing your priorities, your values in life. Also, you can get rid, right? Mars is retrograde, so you can get rid of all unnecessary furniture, clothes, objects that you were piling till the moment. Saturn helps you from your 10th house. So indeed, there are good prospects for career upgrade and better respect and status at work. Maybe your superiors are supporting you. And Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is in Capricorn in your 9th house. So you might need to requalify, go to some courses, finish a degree, show some knowledge to people, especially if you work in tourism, in the educational or legal system, international affairs. But Mercury helps you communicate and teach others, or learn from experience, learn from others, and find the meaning of your life. All of this talks to me. 2nd house is the self-esteem, self-confidence, values in your life. 9th house is your direction, where you have to move, your ideal you want to achieve. 10th house, your mission in life. So maybe it is connected with your faith, with your moral code, value system. So you can be very successful around this full moon, really like achieve some higher position, respect of others, but also be careful with your reputation. Dear Gemini, for you, this full moon, of course, happens in your 1st house, and you will feel it the most if your rising sign, sun, or moon are around 16 degrees of your sign. So it's a good time to wrap up some personal projects and some healing processes, exercises, or renew the ones you left somewhere behind. You are very good at putting boundaries, respecting your personal private space. Don't be too hasty. Now you are the most like agitated, impatient. So learn to be concentrated, please. and you can achieve a lot, right? Because especially in something to kind of conclude, to finish, to end some project, it might be related to your body, to your health, to relationships, any projects, work, and so on, in your initiatives in your life. Remember that Mars will go direct on the 12th of January. You can check my yearly forecast for each sign. So go please find your sign, and there I talk in depth for more than an hour about 2023 and what you can expect from Mars as well. But Mars will go once again on the same degrees in the spring 2023. So now it's more time to prepare, strategize, research, maybe negotiate, right? Before the final resolution then. Be careful with incidents, with speed, with hastiness. Don't provoke conflicts. Try not to be aggressive, because it might just bring you irritation, you know. Saturn is helping you from your 9th house. So in the form of your teachers, professors, inspirational figures, idols, gurus that you follow, respect some authors, writers. In their philosophy, you might find this kind of inner peace and build your inner self-security and backbone. Also, your own long-term goals are very important here, where to direct your energy and courage, and achieving status and prestige. Also, please do rely on your moral code and your worldviews, principles, and belief system. You might win even a court case here. And Mercury is in Capricorn. Mercury is your ruler and the ruler of this full moon. It's nice that he is in Capricorn. He is very grounded and practical, pragmatic. In 8th house, you are dealing on one hand with inner emotions, inner self-sabotaging tendencies, traumas, fears. So it's good here to be strict, organized, to work with a psychologist or astrologer who can help you get to know yourself better and deal with these inner demons. On the other hand, maybe you're having quite successful negotiations for joint finances, for financial support by the government, banks, family, partner, business partners, and so on. Maybe indeed you're getting some money due to some legal courts or some investments from abroad. And also, first 8th house talks about inner transformation of your mentality and emotional world, or of your body as well. So maybe you're undergoing some procedure, operation, or fitness. Dear Cancer, for you, this full moon happens in your 12th house. It's the very hidden house, it's the subconscious. So here you might receive some inner epiphanies, inspirations, like facts from the universe, especially if you meditate in your dreams, or if you spend time in the nature, if you do some retreats or pilgrimage. And Mars in the 12th house is giving you this internal agitation, this maybe even frustration, because you want to act, but you feel a bit lost, you don't have enough energy. At the same time, there is this anxiety, possibly depression, because again, there you want to act, but you don't see it, right? It's your blind spot, the 12th house. So don't worry, it's just a transit. Maybe it's good time now to relax, to heal yourself, to pamper yourself. Take care of your soul and of your body. Go to sanatoriums, go to the nature, do some spiritual or psychological work and practices. Maybe, you know, pray and so on. Breathing work. And yeah, be careful with this internal anger. Find the deep reason why you feel frustrated, why you feel angry, at whom, at yourself, maybe. And also work with how to express in a healthy way, how to direct your anger in a healthy way through exercises, martial arts, sport. something like this. Saturn is helping you from your 8th house. You see, again, the house of psychology, of the emotional world, the dark side of the subconscious. So Saturn here is the good psychologist, therapist, astrologer who helps you, walks with you through the shadows, right? So helps you train your inner demons and kind of take them under control. Grounds you down, makes you more, pulled together, kind of cool-headed. If there's some crisis situations happening, you will know how to react in a very proper manner, organized, and maybe you will receive some financial help, maybe from abroad, for instance. Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is in your 7th house, talking about contracts and relationships, but with this 12th house, maybe they're happening behind the scenes. Maybe there is some secret or some preparation phase. Maybe it's about online and remote activities with someone from abroad. Full moons usually reveal some secrets here. Maybe you're just advising with a healthcare, consulting with a healthcare professional, spiritual teacher. Maybe you are signing some contracts online, or it's something related to credits, mortgages, inheritance, taxes, insurances. Dear Leos, for you this full moon happens in your 11th house. And here you have to reassess or finish some friendships. Maybe you are meeting some old friends and renew your communication with people from the past, visiting some familiar groups of people, organizations, joining some or finishing some group projects, whether in educational field, social field, political or non-governmental organizations, projects online. You maybe are re-evaluating your long-term goals, dreams, and wishes, or maybe you are achieving now some, and that's why it's time to enjoy it and later set new goals for yourself. And hopefully Mars retrograde here finally gives you the deserved recognition, awards, gains, payment for your career, aspirations and achievements and efforts. Be careful with unnecessary conflicts online or with friends. Saturn grounds you through your 7th house. He is now in your 7th house, so you can rely on some elderly person, wise person, consultant, advisor, partner, business partner. They're putting some reason in your life. That's good. And also maybe through all this chaos and rush around your friends and social gatherings and online activities, maybe you will find the real people, the loyal one, the ones who you can rely on, the ones who will withstand the tests of challenges and time. And Mercury is in your 6th house. He rules this full moon. And actually all of this is very much related to your health and work. So maybe you are establishing professional, serious, long-term contacts and contracts. Mercury is usually about documents. Maybe you're studying something professionally to improve. Maybe you're joining some groups for your health, or people who are united by their love for pets, or you're finding and contracting the right employees and workers who can help you dealing with work and difficult things in life. Dear Virgos, for you this full moon happens in your 10th house, and you will feel it the most if your point MC is around 16 degrees of Virgo. So you more likely will be finishing or experiencing culmination in your professional achievements. So, full moon in the 10th house makes you very visible, very recognized, renowned, famous, popular. There might be reaching some very responsible high position, opening your new business, becoming husband, wife, parent, grandparent, right? Achieve some social status. But at the same time, be careful with your reputation because Mars is here. So Mars can be a bit more aggressive, a bit more impatient, hasty. So you don't need this image, right? Because normally you are very discerning and organized, Virgo. Saturn is helping you from your 6th house. So there is the support of your colleagues, of your employees. People who help you in life generally. Doctors might help you. Saturn helps to organize your daily regime because there might be so many things going on at work that you forget to eat, to sleep. So Saturn here reminds you that you have a body here and you should take care of the mechanics of your life. So your body depends on your routine. Maybe you'll do some diets, exercises, fasting, or simply the work-life balance must be kept here. And at work, you might really receive some, more responsibility, more status, but also more duties and responsibilities. Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is in your 5th house. So maybe you'll start working some job that will truly be joyful for you because it involve you showing off your talents, your natural talents. Maybe it will be your own business. You open your own business or some more artistic and creative profession. And maybe here we're talking about a status related to your children or having children, or being proud of your children for some reason, something they do, or the status of your romantic relationships might change in a sense that you might go deeper or, of course, separate. Dear Libras, for you, this full moon happens in your 9th house, so you're most probably ending some education, graduating, publishing something, finishing preparation or a travel, international projects, court case might come here to an end, but be careful with Mars retrograde here, who is quite frustrated. You might just don't do aggressive moves with the representatives of the government or of the law or with foreigners. Don't argue with foreigners. And be very thoughtful during your travels. Just give yourself additional time, not to rush, not to forget things, and so on. Saturn here helps you, grounds you from your 5th house. Your children might cool you off and give some reason, help you with inspiration to conclude or start second master degree, education, bachelor degree, go to university again, travel again. Maybe you will be inspired by your romantic partner to do this together. You'll find some talents. Maybe you'll develop your talents and show your skills and talents to the world. 9th house to be popular. Right, and Mercury, the ruler of this lunation, is in your 4th house. So if we're talking here about court cases, they might be related to property and land, place of living. Maybe you are abroad because of your children or loved one, and now you are applying for residency papers, changing this status, or you are receiving some support from your family, parents, or you are dealing with them about something like, I don't know, inheritance, or you're in a court because of the rights to live with your children, to receive alimony or something like this. But now it might gain some, you might gain some clarity. But don't forget that Mars turns direct in January 2023. Then he will go the same degrees once again. So maybe the final resolution will happen then. I do now upload all my videos for each sign for 2023 forecast. They're very long, like more than an hour, but I analyze in depth all these transits, including the Mars going direct for you. Dear Scorpios, for you, this full moon happens in your 8th house, which you naturally rule. So we're talking here about some clarity about your mental health, emotional health, maybe culmination in working with a psychologist or astrologer, or your esoteric research, or any kind of research. Basically, you can reach the conclusion, the truth, especially if it's about finances, maybe dealing with inheritances or investments, taxes, clarity about your personal intimate life as well, and about your business partnerships. Here, because Mars is your ruler, so you might be a bit confused, to be honest, and not knowing where to direct your energy and thoughts. Just be careful not to be too hasty, too reactive, too emotional, to cut ties impulsively, or to be like too pushy or aggressive with some financial institutions. Luckily, Saturn is grounding us all, and he does this from your 4th house of family, of home. So like your family roots, your homeland, your parents will be inspiring you to be more wise and reasonable. And at the same time, Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is in your 3rd house. So your attention is focused to education or blogging, possibly about psychology or esoterics. Financial help you might receive for your online or small business, maybe some kind of grants, donations. And also maybe you're dealing now with the paperwork, 3rd house, right? Documents related to home, vehicle. Maybe you will start receiving a passive income from renting a place that you used to live. Dear Sagittarius, for you this full moon happens in your 7th house. You will feel it the most if your descendant is around 16 degrees of Gemini. So you will be discovering some truth, possibly, about your partners. There will be some endings of collaborations, maybe, or maybe renewal of contracts, or maybe reassessing, revising your agreements and deals. Don't forget that Mars will actually turn direct on the 12th of January, then he will go the same degrees again, direct already, which is better. So maybe now it's not the time to rush to do something. More it's about now like realizations. So this is how the things are. This is what I can expect from my partners. Okay, this is their stance. Avoid confrontations and being frustrated or irritated because of other people or institutions with whom you have some signed document for collaboration or something like that. Don't rush, definitely. Check my videos for each sign, the yearly forecast for 2023. I worked hard on them. Each of them is more than 1 hour long, and you'll find there as well recommendations about this Mars transit. Luckily, you are grounded now by Saturn in your 3rd house, so you are focused. First thing first, it's good to be focused, your mind, on proper communication with serious people, some real deals, even if you are about to sign some contracts or something related to sales, trading, teaching, education, transportation, logistics, then you will be looking for the long-term agreements with mutually beneficial for you and your partners. Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is in your 2nd house. So all of these negotiations might be related to work, money, finances, buying or selling something. And it might be a car, a vehicle, actually. Maybe relocating with your partners. Capricorns, dear Capricorns, for you this full moon happens in your 6th house. So we're talking about finishing or renewing in order to finish finally some work projects. Maybe there's end of collaboration with colleagues, you're leaving some team, or you change the office, or you have to refurbish the office. repairments at home or at work. It's good. Mars likes to be in the 6th house. He feels efficient and useful by dealing with problems, by repairing things like a little engineer. But he's now retrograde. So it's better not to start something new, but rather to finish some old unfinished business. It might be about work or it might be about health. You might go back to the fitness, to the gym, restart a diet and exercise and a proper routine to feel healthier. Be careful with traumas though, with cuts, bruises, incidents. Don't rush, you don't want to be hasty. That's very confusing. And avoid conflicts and confrontations at work with your colleagues or with doctors. Now, luckily, your own ruler, Saturn, is helping you by trine. He's grounding you in your 2nd house. So it's all these efforts at work are helping for you to earn money, to feel materially secure and stable, to feel this self-respect, self-confidence, and to establish some long-term sustainable work projects. Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is in your sign, in Capricorn. So you are now blessed with the skills of communication, self-expression, negotiations, being the middleman, looking for the right people, researching, analyzing, or even, driving around, traveling. That's all good activities for you now. Manual work as well. Dear Aquarius, for you this full moon happens in your 5th house. So there is some culmination in your romantic life, whether it's separation or it's moving in together or going like deeper, engagements and so on. Maybe there are news about children or news from your children. But be careful not to be too agitated, too confrontational with partners or with your kids. Invest this energy into passion, into hobby, into creativity, into sport, into competitions. Mars is retrograde. If you have not won some competition that you attended previously, maybe now you prepared better and you go again this time to have the 2nd chance to win. Saturn is helping you, your ruler, traditional ruler, from your 1st house. This is fantastic. You are strong. You are with this backbone, with this inner unshakable core. You know yourself, you know your values, you are reasonable, you're pragmatic, you're ambitious. So go for it. Go for your business, for creative projects, for love life, whatever. But you are really practical and reasonable. And Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is in your 12th house. So maybe there is some communication behind the stage, some preparational phase, something secret maybe, or something which is now currently done online, like a relationship with a foreigner, first online. Or maybe you are working with a healer, with a teacher, you're learning something online, and you are receiving some deep epiphanies and insights, especially if you meditate, if you are like in the creative process, if you have a walk outside, if you're doing some breathing practices or in your sleep, there might be some revelations. Working with a psychologist here is very useful too. And dear Pisces, for you this full moon happens in your 4th house, and you will feel it the most if your IC is around the 16th degree of Gemini. So you can finish a lot of homework here, literally, or home repairs, or finally selling your place. Just don't do things too emotionally or rushing. There is no need to rush, but you can invest this all Martian energy into work from home, exercises from home, or actively remodeling your place of living. Maybe you're emigrating, but be careful with conflicts with roommates or parents, family members. Saturn is helping you here from your 12th house. So this is your own subconsciousness, and you feel very grounded and very wise and very pragmatic on the deeper level. You have this inner backbone, maybe you're helped by your ancestors, like spiritual world, or by someone far away, from abroad, especially if you're relocating. It's important that you are internally like cool-headed, right? And Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is in Capricorn in your 11th house. So either it's because you want to join some charitable organizations or social causes, or just you are inspired by like-minded people, or maybe because you are moving abroad and you need the assistance of some NGOs who help foreigners, expats, immigrants, and so on. But certainly you are good in communicating with more people, or maybe online. Maybe you're writing a blog about spirituality or about home design, something like that. All right, my dear friends, so this is how the exciting full moon in Gemini looks like, with a lot of Marsian flavor. So I hope it will be somehow still productive for you. Keep it cool, keep yourself grounded, don't forget to breathe, and be kind with your words. Remember that words can hurt in this period. Of course, take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.